Hi, my name is Brittany and this is Crochet Revival. Today we are going to be reviewing the multicolored skirt pattern from the Etsy shop Liloumariposa. I paid $188 for this pattern on that shop, and this is the finished product. I didn't weave in my ends yet because I was just too lazy, but this is the finished pattern. So I am a size, like a US size 8/10, excuse me, more so the size 10, I'd say these days. And I made the vintage size 12 pattern. So I used a 6.5mm hook. It's just a regular boy hook that I picked up at Walmart. And I made some changes to the pattern. So they gave a gauge of 5 stitches equals 2 inches. My gauge was slightly smaller than the 2 inches, but I liked the way my stitches looked better when I used the 6.5, and I didn't really care for like the 9mm or anything larger that would have given me the 2-inch gauge. So what I did was I measured around where my waist was, and I took that measurement, divided it by 2 because it's 2 inches, and then divided that number by the 5 to give me the stitch count. I didn't write down the stitch count, but I believe I chained 86. If you're interested in the exact, I can count it and figure it out for you guys. But yeah, so that's one of the changes I made. And then another change is I'm not very curvy, so there's not a lot of difference in inches between where the skirt is going to sit on my waist and my hips. So I only did 2 of the increases in the pattern, and I wasn't 100% sure when I was making it if it was going to work, the 2 was going to work, but I knew I definitely didn't want to do the full amount of increases just because of my body shape. So when you see the skirt and you see it's kind of like straight up and down, that's because of the way my body is. It's not because that's how the pattern is designed. I just made it for my body. So if you were somebody who is curvier, you could easily make this to fit your body, and it wouldn't be like your finished product wouldn't be as straight as mine. But yeah, so those were the 2 big changes that I made for the pattern. And the pattern also suggests that you put in an elastic waistband. I didn't do that. And that wasn't because I wanted to. I just couldn't find elastic near me that was like the appropriate size. I can't find elastic at the craft stores near me. I don't know how it is for everybody else, but the craft stores near me have very little like options with the elastic. Brix is jumping around. Sit. So that was one of the changes I made. Also, something I was thinking about, if you were someone who is a little curvier, like I said, I don't have a big difference between my waist and my hips, but if you were somebody who did, because even though they have elastic, like they say they want you to have elastic around here, and you would just be making a casing, right? So you'd be folding this under and make a casing for the elastic, and then sew it around to enclose it. If you were someone who is significantly curvy, I could see how it might be a little bit difficult for you to get it up over your waist. Maybe the elastic would help with it for a little bit, but maybe just consider using like a stretchier fabric or something like that. Or I don't know, I used worsted weight yarn for this. Or maybe if you were really curvy, maybe you'd have a little bit of bunching around your waist. I don't think a ton of people want to do that, but maybe you could cover it up with a belt, like kind of like the person in the picture is doing. But that was just one thing I was thinking about. I was thinking also maybe I would try to do like a tutorial on adding a zip closure, because if this was an item that you found that you found that you wore a lot, a zip closure would be really helpful because it wouldn't be so hard to get on and get off. As far as how I'm going to wear it, I bought like a black ribbed cotton slip dress on H&M or at H&M at the end of summer sale. And I plan on just using that as kind of like a lining and seeing how I like it before I go through the trouble of adding a lining. I'm a bit of a beginner sewist, so I wasn't sure if I wanted to add a lining right away or not. But those were just two things that I thought about that it might sit a little bit differently on you based on your body shape, but you should be able to make the pattern easily based on your body shape. You know, like I said, I changed a different amount, so you'd be able to change a different amount. So I said that I used worsted weight acrylic yarn. So I used Impeccible yarns by Michaels, which I think is a comparable of like Red Heart, and they had almost every single color that the pattern suggested. They had a comparable. So I can also list the colors that I used in the pattern, but I know like I used Citron, gold, soft rose, I think it's called dark orchid, and like a light blue. I don't remember what that light blue was called. And then a dark purple. And I'll give you like the exact colors if you wanted to use the same thing. But I used worsted weight on purpose. I wanted it to kind of have like a winter, like fall winter look. And I think I might, like I said, if I make this again and I try to add like a zip closure or something like that to kind of tweak it, I think I might change the amount of green that I have in the pattern. I like how this turned out. I think there's a lot of green in the pattern, and I don't wear a whole lot of green, but the colors look nice. I mean, it's just kind of a difference, it's just pairing like darks and lights. So you could easily change whatever color. I was thinking about doing some kind of a version with like a teal. I've really been loving like teal and green, like those jewel colors lately. So I was thinking about maybe switching up the colors. Now, I'll just have to see what they have available. But yeah, so another good thing about this pattern, or this shop, I guess I should say, is the patterns that I purchased from this shop print out really nicely. And I know you're thinking like, oh my gosh, she prints out these patterns. That's crazy. But the reason that I print the patterns out is because sometimes a lot of times I have to make changes to the pattern. Like I said, I only did 2 increases for my skirt, and I also changed the stitch count to meet my gauge. So if I'm making a pattern and I do the gauge swatch one time and I like the way it turned out, I don't want to have to keep on doing that gauge swatch time after time if I make that item, multiple times. And so I'll just write in the corner what size hook I used, maybe what kind of yarn, and then any kind of change I made along the way. This pattern overall was really easy to follow. I didn't have to I said I made stitch changes and stuff like that, but I didn't have to make changes to the actual pattern. Like it was written really clearly. And this shop, her patterns print out really nice. So it's not like a bunch of pages. It looks like she kind of retyped it so that it took up the full page. Sometimes there'll be like a scanned PDF of something like a magazine insert or a catalog insert, whatever it was. And that's fine, but this was really easy to read because she had retyped it. And I liked that for this pattern because of all of the color changes, so that made it very easy. And I think overall this would be a beginner pattern. It was really easy to follow. I didn't get stuck on any parts. They're pretty beginner stitches. So I think if you were a beginner, you could definitely do this. Maybe it would take you a little bit more time, but you could definitely do it. I think in total it took me like maybe 4 nights of, you know, crocheting while watching TV after work for like an hour or two. So it came together really quickly, especially for the fact that like a skirt, I think it turned out nice. So yeah, so I got that from Liloumariposa on Etsy, and I'll link all of that below. And if you guys end up making this, I would love to see it. And Brooks would love to see it as well. He's smelling it. And let me know what you think about the pattern overall. If you do end up purchasing it, did you like it? What colors? I'm kind of curious to see if anybody makes it and they do different colors. I think this time I followed the color suggestions, but I think I might kind of try to go rogue and see if I can put together some different colors that I might wear a little bit more than the colors that they had, you know, in the pattern. But yeah, I think this would look really cute with like a turtleneck or leggings and boots. So let me know what you think, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.